Hello, everybody. Welcome back to episode 7 of Give Her the Mic.
Every time you say the episode, I get so nervous that it's going to be the wrong one.
Do you?
Yeah, like I don't know which one we're on at this point because we've recorded so many. So
I love it so
I
much,
love it.
though.
Time flies.
We're having a good time. And I do want to say real quick, like I told Chloe this morning, the feedback that we have gotten and the positive, like just everybody's support and people sharing our stories and trusting us with their stories. It's just been, we just know we're on the right path, and I'm super thankful.
Yeah.
Even though it's hard some days, like, we're doing it, and we're doing it because we were told to.
Yeah, and I mean, we said that this morning. We were like, we're not getting paid for this.
No.
Like, this is just one of those things where we really felt like we could really help people, and same thing. Like, I've read some of the messages that I've gotten on my personal Instagram, same with you. Like, this really is helping women, and that was the goal. Like, that's what Give Her the Mic
goal.
is. It's
That's
not
the
just
goal.
about like the mic on here, but it's them feeling like they have a voice and they can be relatable. And our stories are so different, which is so beautiful. Like, it's tragic in different ways.
It is tragic, for sure.
It's so this episode is going to be a bit lighter. And we're going to have some fun because we're actually really cool. And
we're really not that serious all the time.
No.
Like, I'm not even, I'm hardly ever, I mean, I am serious when I have to be, but I am not. So we want to have some fun. We don't want to always be like, in the, what is it? Like, it just feels dark.
Yeah, I mean, because we feel great. I
yes,
mean,
we do.
We've talked about this, like, we feel better than we ever have since we started becoming friends. And this episode, we're going to talk about, work and our worth and our journey. And it's been cool because a lot of our journey with work, we've kind of been there together.
Yeah.
Which I love. Even if it was just seasons, like at the hospital.
There were, little bits and pieces for sure.
I was in and out pretty quick at the hospital with you. I was like, I'm going to cuss a surgeon out. And I
remember
did a
you
couple
cussing
times.
a respiratory therapist out at one point. I feel like it might have been Anna.
Don't mess with my patients. It was not Anna.
It wasn't.
Anna.
I think that was actually somebody else that did that, though. And I was like, don't mess with Anna. She will get you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You had to definitely call me off the ledge multiple times. You're like, Chloe, you could lose your license.
Nursing, like, people will push your buttons for 12 hours. Like, they literally will push your buttons, and you really have to, like, learn to be, just like take a step back. It's tough, though. I can't lie.
Yeah, like yesterday when you said somebody said they wanted to fight a patient, and you were like, "Oh, you want to fight?"
Family member. She literally walked in and said she was ready to fight. I said, "On a Tuesday? You want to fight on a Tuesday?" I said, "I can take my hoops out. I mean, what are we doing
Not
here?"
Taco Tuesday. Not Taco Tuesday.
No, not Taco Tuesday. But we really want to talk today about. Chloe and I, our stories are a lot similar in ways over the past, decade. And then there's bits and pieces that are different, but some similarities for sure. We built our businesses together.
Yeah.
And we did that during, my kids were smaller. Yours
they
were
were
very
like
young.
Almost my kids' age now, a little bit older than
I think
my
they were
kids'
like
ages now.
6 and 8-ish, something around there,
And it was so fun.
It was fun.
Honestly, like building our Scentsy business together, I feel like there has been so much like, oh, these are the hard parts about building a direct sales business. But honestly and truly,
we had a blast.
We
had so much fun.
So fun.
We really did.
And what we mean by is like building to the level of income we wanted to get to.
Yeah.
It was so fun.
It was effortless.
So let's
because we
that.
did that together. You know, that's why it was fun. I feel like when you do something with somebody that challenges you and supports you, and I truly think about this like trying to find a partner. I mean, I was single for so long.
She has a boyfriend. She does right now.
I do right now. But when you're building something with a partner, like you need someone who's going to be supportive and kind and like empathetic and all of those things. And we were doing it together, and you were those things for me. And that's why we thrived. Truly.
Yeah,
That's why
same.
we did, you
Same.
know?
It was a partnership, and that's how people build things. And I
Yeah.
love that we're already talking about this because it's not in our notes. But when you are trying to build something, if you have a true partnership with somebody, the world could be on fire. Like I had a shit day yesterday, and you know I did. I mean, just being honest with you guys, like it was one of those days, and I was like, I really want to start over. Like I ate dinner in my car with a
At like
Netflix
8:30
show
at night.
because that's where I wanted to. I was like, I need that, and I still was like, I can film today because I'm not by myself.
Yeah.
You know, love Josh. He's great, our producer for this podcast. But like, I have my best friend here with me. And if she's going to be here, I've got to be here.
Yeah.
And I think that's actually key for women in business, which we're definitely, as the seasons go on, we're going to talk about building businesses. And I know y'all want to hear that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's so key to have somebody locked in with you doing it because you cannot do this kind of stuff alone. I would never want to do this alone. So yeah, start with like Scentsy for us and like all the fun stuff we did and how we built it and nursing.
So Chloe and I for sure are both, I mean, as you guys can already see, number one, we love women. We love women. We love hearing women's stories. We love mentoring women. And a lot of Scentsy for us, we were building women up.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we thrive so much too, because women have kind of always looked to us for that.
Yeah.
Maybe now I kind of understand it more, but back then I didn't.
Right.
But
we were like running with them, but
we were.
It really
and that's
is
leadership.
Yeah, but it's
that's
a gift.
Leadership.
Like,
it is a gift.
The fact that God put us like, hey, I'm going to put you with these women and they're going to see you also with a woman that's your best friend doing it. Right.
Yeah.
And remember all the time people used to be like, gosh, we really want to find what you two have. And we would be like, you can. Like it's literally out there. Yeah. Like,
but you have to get away from those toxic relationships and friendships. There's so many women that, you know, I know for me, I feel like people have taken advantage of my kindness a lot in friendships.
Oh, yeah.
And I think a lot of people don't find what we have because they don't know how to like, they give themselves too much to the wrong people.
Yeah.
You know?
And I also think it's like one of those things where women, we're all toxic in different ways.
Oh, 100%.
You know what I mean? Like the more unhealthy we are, or I was reading about rest yesterday and how critical rest is for women. And like I told you this morning, like I didn't even sleep last night. And so when you're not rested, you're going through difficult situations. I also want to make sure like our viewers know, like, it's okay if you've been toxic because we've all been there. I think every human being has that angel devil mentality. That's why we need to get checked by people who love us. And we need to also give ourselves grace because those imperfections that we each have, that's also what makes us human.
Exactly.
But yes, like when you are building something and it is heavily reliable on women, which was so different, right? From being a nurse, which we can talk about that. It's like so different. It's like we're taking care of people in different ways. But when you're building women in a business, any kind of business where you involve women, you give them a lot of access.
Oh, yeah.
And that creates, you know, that trial and error of not really knowing where things are going to go. But I also think it's incredibly important for people to know that, yes, you, of course, like we've learned a lot through relationships with others and our own relationship and how we treated each other, which we've talked about in other episodes. But it's also like that's created our morals and values of where we are today. Because who we are today and who we were 10 years ago, like
not even the same.
If I was on this podcast 10 years ago, I would be eating people alive.
I would just be crying continuously. I would have just been like crying.
And then you would get mad at me and I'd be like, whatever, bye.
Yeah,
and then I'd be like,
walk out.
I'd be like, okay, I'm going to do the podcast on my own. I'm going to finish it out. Yeah. She's fine.
And I would just probably still be sitting here crying.
I'd be like, you're fine. Get a tissue. The show will go on. You know?
Yes, we're not who we used to be. And I think we do want to talk about that too. Like when we were building Scentsy together and when we were nursing, you know, like we were both building this crazy business. At one point, Chloe, of course, left nursing and just did Scentsy full time and still does.
Yeah.
but we were not taking care of ourselves in the interim at all.
No.
Like we were we were literally just like, I mean,
not even skincare.
I don't even look the same.
I
look
even
younger.
face
I
cream.
look so much younger now than I did a decade ago.
Were we putting anything on our face?
I don't remember putting
anything.
I was washing my face.
No, a cream, a serum.
No. I don't remember.
No, like this morning I lacquered on like 4 things.
Yeah. No, I told Brandon the other night when I went to bed, I said, don't light a match around me. Like my face will go up in flames.
We are shut in.
You have to put so much stuff on your face. Okay.
If you don't take anything else away from this episode, please have a skin regimen. There is a glass skin girl on TikTok.
Yes.
I've been showing Kristen, like, please, like, it's, guys,
take a breath in the morning. And I know for me, there's two things. Either when I'm depressed, when I'm really depressed, I don't take care of myself. Like I still wash my face. That was ingrained in me. Like no matter what, I wash my face every day. Always take my makeup off. But I would not like wash my face, do my hair. I remember I didn't brush my hair for like a year, I think at one point. But like, that's number one. And number two, as women, we have so many responsibilities. The amount of things that we do before 9, 10 a.m. is insane.
Bro,
so a lot of women
wild.
are like, I don't have time to stop and do this. Yes, you do. And you have to.
Yeah,
you physically have to.
Lock your kid out of the room. Like, I know that sounds bad, but especially people with young kids, like I have a lock on the outside of my bedroom door with a thumbprint keypad. Kristen knows this because like I love my daughter. She's my mini me, but yeah, like there's the invasion of just personal space. And I feel like we do live in this generation now, like worldwide, where people are so overstimulated, and it's not an age thing. It's all generations where, especially with women, because we do wear so many hats, that I will lock my door for a minute and I will tell my daughter, hey, I'm doing my skincare, or I'm going to take a 10-minute bath. I'm going to set you up with a puzzle. And that's okay. And it took me a long time to get there.
Me too.
Because I used to, I think, because I had such a, it's hard with my mom because she used to be good and then she wasn't good. And so it makes you think they were good the whole time, but there was always the bad parts. But she never really gave me consistent time. And so
So you feel like you need to do the opposite almost.
It's totally against it for me to be like, I'm going to do skincare and I'm going to do, a bath or whatever. But it is so important because these nervous systems that we have as women are freaking out.
Let's talk about our guts for a second.
Oh, we will. Episode, isn't it 9? I can't wait.
It is.
We're going to talk about the gut, the
gut health, your gut health. Like we have to talk about gut health for sure.
I want to talk about Cincy a little more though. Let's talk about like how much fun we had when we were building that business and everywhere we were flying. Do you remember when you promoted, was it director or SSD when we were on that trip with Jen Anderson?
It was director.
And we were at some place she rented for us.
We were in Vegas. We were in Vegas.
At the pool, and you promoted that day.
I just promoted.
It was the best day ever.
Jumped in the pool. I was so excited.
You remember that?
The way that we grew and how quickly we grew because we had the support of each other was magical.
Yeah.
Like I hit the top level in the company in 2 years.
Yeah.
That was supposedly unheard of.
Yeah,
it
is.
But we were just building.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, I remember we did this one Halloween party and we dressed up in like we literally had the time of our lives.
Yeah.
We did a video on Facebook one time with some coconut bras on when they came out with a Hawaiian collection. Did. Like we were truly ourselves together.
And I'm going to say what I'm going to say. I feel like we really pioneered social and direct sales with video and stuff like that because
no one was doing it.
Nobody was doing video on Facebook. And Instagram, gosh, I wish we got on there sooner, but it's okay. But like we really were like, we loved video. And so we were videoing and going live all the time.
Always live.
And let's talk about Spain. Remember when we earned that trip to Spain and we got to take our friend Cassidy and her husband.
Yeah. We stayed in this little village before we went to Barcelona, before we went to the actual city. We stayed there for a week.
It was wild.
And we rented this Airbnb and it was in this little village. All they had was a family-owned restaurant.
Meat market.
There was a meat market. There was a pharmacy, which was super
cool.
A coffee shop. And it was amazing, the culture, because they don't get up until like 11 o'clock
Dude,
every
yeah,
day.
let's talk about that.
It was insane.
Remember? And then remember at like, when there was like nap time.
Yes.
Every day
A
at like
siesta.
3.
And
it was
I remember we
closed.
were starving and we were walking through Barcelona, and there was, so just know, if you ever go to Spain and you're hungry, make sure you eat before siesta time, or you will not get any food at all. Like there's no food. But that was, we were lucky. We really were. Even though we were both struggling in other ways, like God truly like gave us so much joy in that season.
It was just so fun. And I think for me, that trip to Spain is what really showed me, like, I'm even thinking about next year, like I want me and you to go to Paris. It's on my list for us. But that really opened my eyes to like international travel, because I never thought.
Most people don't do it.
Right. Like, and we got to do it together with our other like really good friend that we are still good friends with today. And we always talk about that trip. And like, you know, one thing I do wish is I wish that when me personally on that trip, I wish I slowed down. I think my brain was still so fast that
we
I
never
was like,
slowed down back then though.
Right.
Even on trips.
Right.
You know, but that's because our nervous systems were still like up here.
Yeah.
And we weren't taking care of ourselves at all.
Yeah.
So even when we traveled, we were still like, now when we travel, we're like, where can I sit?
Right.
Like, how do I like truly rest? Because if you're going to travel, like it should be so you come back ready to like seize, because life is hard.
Yes.
At home.
I taught you that.
It never stops.
I taught you how to travel like in style, because even when we went to Miami for your birthday, so we went to Miami y'all for her birthday, and it was so fun. But when we were flying back, all of our girlfriends had left. They went on early flights, and
we got stuck.
Our flight got canceled because it started to monsoon.
Yes, it did.
And we were in the airport all day, sitting on the floor, rescheduled the flight twice only for it to get canceled. And we were going to have to sleep in the airport. And I went, oh, hell no. And I said, we're going to stay at the Satai. And so we literally.
I said, Chloe, I took her phone because Chloe is very type A. She's the doer. She's like, here, we're going here. We're doing this. We're doing that. And I looked at her and I could tell in her eyes she was done.
I was done.
She was done. So I took her phone and I started looking up hotels, and I said, the only one that I see is a Satai. It's right down the street. And she said, book it. I said, it is like $900 and something. She said, I don't care.
No.
I'm done.
I
am done.
It was wonderful.
It was the most beautiful place I've ever been in my life.
Literally.
I can't wait to go there
once we got there, we took showers because we had been.
Oh, we wore the same clothes for what? Almost 30 hours?
48 hours. We wore them the next day. Y'all, she had a cat suit on, okay?
Cat suit on.
Like a black.
Like a one-piece jumpsuit. And y'all know how that is. When you're in a jumpsuit in the airport, you're naked, essentially, on the toilet.
I do know, because you didn't tell me, and I wore a cat suit when I went on a business trip the next month, and I texted her, and I was like, I do not know how you wore this and went to the airplane bathroom.
And I said, I'm so sorry that I did not warn you and tell you not to do that. I think I was still traumatized from our situation. So I'm sorry. It was bad.
But like, remember,
don't wear a jumpsuit to the airport.
We got to the Satai and then we showered, and it was just like so luxurious because they had shampoo and conditioner there. That was luxurious.
The shower was like a cave.
Yeah. We got room service. We slept in our robes.
Yeah.
Because like we
have to take care that. And the entire story is that like you have to know yourself enough to know what to do for you to breathe.
Yeah.
To truly like settle your nervous system down, because you can't live that way.
No.
You're inflamed.
Yeah.
Like there's so many things that go into it. It is not good. But yeah, I love the Satai. I wish I could live there.
It was amazing. It was amazing.
I
So
can't.
Moving on, let's talk
about It's Never Too Late.
Oh yeah, let's
talk about It's Never Too Late. Y'all know I'm 42, and I feel like a lot of my life is just beginning, if that makes sense. It's kind of beautiful, kind of wonderful.
Yeah.
It actually is beautiful and wonderful. And I could have, taken the last however many years of my life, all the things I've been through, and been like, I'm just going to fold. But life is way too short. Like, we never know if we're going to wake up tomorrow.
Yeah.
And every day is a new beginning. It doesn't matter if you're 42, 22, 55. Like, you still have so much life, because I said that the other day to my older son. I was like, I'm just so thankful that God has still kept me here.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I should be gone. So
Yeah.
many times I should be gone.
Yeah.
But I know that like I still have so much purpose, and it doesn't matter how old you are, like you still have, God has you here for a purpose.
Yeah.
And every day you should live that way and be
Mm-hmm.
thankful for it. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's never too late, man.
No, because
You can do anything that you want in this
even
life.
like, I feel like I know my dad and stepmom specifically used to get on my nerves when I was younger because they would, want to do family time and want to do all this stuff and want to ask how my day was and slow me down. And I would be like, no, I'm busy. Like, no, I don't
Yeah.
care about that stuff. And now I look at it as in, those are the moments that
They
actually
matter.
and are impactful is sitting down. And like I tell Brody, my son, all the time, I told him yesterday, I looked at him in the eye and I was like, I love you so much. I think it's so important to tell the people that we love them and to just, I just feel like.
And have conversations. I feel like people
Right.
just don't have conversations in general, like hard, easy, whatever in the interim. Like you need to talk.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I even look at me being 34 and I could look at it two ways like, oh my gosh, I am in my mid 30s now. Where did my life go? And I think about that sometimes. I literally am like, God, how did I get here?
Me too.
And it's not in a selfish way, but I'm like, yeah, I know it was my choices, but I also know life will really mess you up and really will derail you and really will make you think when you're in your bubble of the way things are, you think this is just how it's going to be. Like we were talking about this morning because we were reading a text from our friend Dana. And, when you're in bad situations or certain situations, you really think like I'm
never getting out.
This is just how it is. Like these are the cards I was dealt. And it doesn't create a victim mentality, but it creates a depressed mentality. And for like a long time, most of my 20s, I was pretty in and out of depression. But then it's like I come from a family that, has diagnoses of bipolar, schizophrenia, OCD, and so I fought so hard to like, I don't want to be on medication. I'm not going to be medicated. But then you have people around you that make you feel crazy. And I don't even know where I'm going with this, but it's like to not have that support and to feel crazy. If there's anybody out there that feels like that, like you're not alone, and also you're a product of your environment. And so whoever you're around and whatever's being fed to you and through you and those daily things in relationships, like that's going to affect.
They all matter. Every single conversation that comes your way from the second that you wake up, it affects you.
Yeah. And it shapes you.
It truly does.
And there's been
so your environment is the biggest thing that I think most people don't realize that you can change.
Yeah, you can change.
You can.
And it's freaking hard, but that's what, you've shown me and like my stepmom through talking with her about things like you can think differently and almost like rewire your brain through therapy and through positive self-talk. But I think to the downfall of social media as well as like when you have a platform like me and you set yourself up to be judged and you set yourself up for failure sometimes. And like me and you are feelers. And so it's like we can feel whenever people are being fake. We were talking about that the other day on social, or when people just will show up for clout or start to come around when you're doing super well. And, I think just the environment is so critical of what is happening in our homes and in our space, because somebody can say one bad thing to you on social and you'll get over it. But if somebody says something bad to you that you care about and that you love and that you think loves you, it affects you 10 times differently. And and then, when you grow up like that, because I grew up and, I was telling you the other day, we're going to talk about this in the next episode because we're going to talk about narcissism.
Yes, we are.
The narcissist.
The word that starts with the N.
I'm talking to my mom 2 weeks ago, and then now on this podcast, now we're not talking because the true colors always come out. The core self of people is what I think scares me the most about human beings in general. And that's why I love that we're talking about it's never too late. Because it is never too late. And there may be people that are listening now that are walking through this where they are in environments where they're being told they're great and then they're shitty.
Yep.
And when you go back and forth,
the roller coaster
in relationships like that and friendships and whatnot, are you going to feel great or are you going to feel shitty? You're going to feel shitty.
Of course you are.
Because it doesn't matter how many times you're told you're great. When you are cut down, and it could be the hospital, right?
Yeah.
There's been so many times, right? Where you've been cut down at the hospital, made to feel replaceable, insignificant, like your
I wasn't
old boss.
a good nurse, and I am the best damn nurse.
Right.
Yeah.
But when people tell you those words, or like even with your ex, when he would, tell you, or undermine when you started Hazel House, or undermine your needs, or, A, B, C, and D, it affects you even thinking that you could be anything else, which is why I think our relationship and women finding relationships with their best friend is so important, because if it wasn't for you, I don't know if I would. I know I wouldn't be doing this podcast, number one, and I know you wouldn't either.
No.
But I also know, like, those other voices of the times when I've been told you're not good enough, you're not a good mom, you're nothing. This is your fault. You're in this situation. You did this to yourself. What did you think was going to happen? Or like when my mom texted me the other week and said, let me clarify what you said on your podcast, and let me address like what I really did. And it's like, no, you're gaslighting me.
Yep.
But it's really hard, like, right? Like, even with
It's
therapy to like,
it's so hard.
Step into
It is the hardest thing that anybody will ever do. Getting out of a toxic relationship, marriage, abusive one, it is literally like, I think the only way you can do it is like, you just have to take a breath, and even if you don't have the strength, you just do it. And then eventually you find it. But what's so crazy is that when you do it, the peace that comes immediately after is something that I cannot even, because for so long, like, you didn't stand for that. And then so it's different.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anywho.
Yeah. So,
but anywho.
So nursing, Cincy, building our careers, getting into therapy, I know was really big for both of us.
Yes.
And
just being, the choices that you make for yourself every single day matter so much.
Yes.
Choosing, and that's why I say all the time now, like, I choose for myself so differently than I ever did before.
Yeah.
And you deserve to choose for yourself because you are your own person.
Yeah.
And I think people just worry about what everybody else is saying and everybody else is doing, and also to the backlash of the choices that they make. But you're going to get it no matter what you choose.
Right. And even being in environments you don't want to be in, like I told myself at the beginning of the year, and I told you this too, like, I was making a choice to not be in environments anymore that made me uncomfortable. And I was in a situation in April on my business trip with a particular woman, and she put me in a situation because I was literally stuck in a room.
Yeah.
And when she came and invaded my personal space, I literally walked out of that room, and Justin came and walked out to see if I was okay. And I made the choice. I said, no, I'm going to actually leave this environment.
Yeah, and you can.
And I was proud of myself, because old Chloe would have stayed there and trained and done that while she sat in the front row and tried to do what she has done to me since I joined this business. But I said, no, like, her power is gone. That power is gone. And that's what I'm really fighting for this year, is like, not being in it. I don't have to be in environments or we talked about this the other day, try to be friends with people that do not like me.
No.
Why are we trying to befriend people that or let relationships last where that season's long gone, because that's an old part of us too. And I think that's what's hard to let go of too, is like all of those relationships where you used to like just stand there and be tough and it'll maybe get better. No, guys, it literally doesn't get better because
it's not you.
No. Or it may be bringing out a horrible version
Triggers
of you.
in you, for sure.
Which me and you have talked about. And so I think that's super important too.
Yep.
Is for the viewers to understand, like, you actually don't have to be in situations that make you uncomfortable. You don't. And when you start moving differently and going, no, like even on my last work trip, like I didn't go to dinners with people. All these things, I used to like force myself to do that. And the way that my anxiety works and the way that I run, I have major trust issues. Like, so do you. It's like I would be a fool just to think I could sit at a dinner table with women that I only know on the internet.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
I know.
And we live in this world where we think like, oh yeah, they like me, they're for me. You literally have no idea until you were like building quality time with people over time.
You don't know them.
In person. You do not know. And
you don't.
That's super important for people to know too. Like, if they're building a business, whether it be they're an entrepreneur building a business or it's direct sales or they're on social, you must be very careful because unfortunately, most people are not for you.
No, most people are selfish.
They're not for you. And that's why, it matters more to me, like pouring into our relationship and pouring into my relationship with my stepmom and with my friends that walked with me through the past 5 years, like being in those kinds of relationships and not trying to win back.
Put your effort where it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Like I had a friend text me this morning and she was like, maybe one day, like these certain people will apologize to you. And I said, honestly, I don't even think I'm looking for that because I've already done what I needed to do and also have let that go. And those aren't genuine people. Yeah. And I think, so to wrap it up, I don't know if there's anything you want to add to.
Let me think. I did want to say too, in your job, like Chloe knows I was in the float pool for 2 years and at the end I was miserable. Like my body felt it. It was so bad. Going to work every day, I was in so much pain. And she at one point she was like, girl, you got to go. I think you said that to me multiple times. And finally, but like you, I definitely am used to staying in things, even if they're not perfect, but even if I'm not completely happy or comfortable. And I was like, I got to go. And now my job is so beautiful. My nervous system is so much better. It's still crazy at times because I'm a nurse, let's be honest. But just like you said multiple times, like you don't have to stay in an environment, even in your job. There are many jobs in this world. Like y'all, you can switch. It will be okay. And you have to get up every day and do that. Yeah. And if you don't like it, it's not a good idea. So we talked about a lot of stuff on this episode that we didn't even like plan or anything. But you know what? It was great.
It was so good.
I'm so glad.
So so basically we want you guys to go out and build the business, find your bestie, build it with them, find a partner type friendship where they are going to help you win at life. That is, I know, is the key between both of us. And that's what we've done. No, go.
Make sure the relationships that you're in feel that way too. Like every day, like look around you and really self-reflect and be like, is this how like with my best friend, is my relationship with my partner this way? Like you have to stop and truly think, is this the environment and everything else that's like healthy for myself and my nervous system? Yeah. Nobody does that. Yeah. And so anywho, that's that.
Take your own advice. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.